The first thing on this month's GPS training podcast is a chat with Tom from Garmin about the all-new Fenix 6 GPS watch. So welcome back, Tom, to the GPS training podcast.
Good morning.
Are you fit and well?
I am. I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, nice sunny day here.
Yeah, we were supposed to record this yesterday, but I think we both end up with very busy days, so we're now doing it the following morning at 10 o'clock. So, time to kind of get on with it.
I got stuck behind that traffic jam that was the gin lorry on the M6.
Oh, yes. Was that slow gin by any chance?
Well, that is the joke that's going around.
I heard that on the radio this morning, so that's it. So, okay, back to what we should be discussing, which is the new Fenix watch. So first of all, Tom, I know we've discussed Fenix watch in the past. I think a quick overview really of the Fenix GPS watch, what it does, the basic main principles of what a watch does, and then we'll kind of go a bit more in depth into the product itself.
Yeah, so Fenix 6 is what we call a multi-sport GPS watch. So you've got all the GPS-led features in there, the navigational aid side, so routes, tracks, waypoints, all of that kind of thing. You've got all of Garmin's sports apps, so run, bike, swim, etc. Then it's a fitness tracker, so it's one of our fitness bands, steps, distance, and it's also a smartwatch as well.
Yep. So it's really a watch you wear every day, but then when you're out in the countryside or running or exercising, it measures that. And also navigational device, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of combines lots of different devices into one.
So then I'm just trying to get the timeline as well. So Fenix 5, we had the Fenix 5, Fenix 5 Plus.
Yeah.
I think just had the addition of maps on all models and Garmin Pay. Is that right? If I remember rightly?
Yeah, so when we
and music, as well.
I can kind of run through it briefly with you. So the first Fenix came out in 2012,
okay,
and Fenix 6 is our 7th iteration of that. Kind of last year, 2018, we launched Fenix 5 Plus, which was our first series that was mapping all the way across the range. We also brought in some kind of smart features, basically, was the big update. So like you said before, Garmin Music and Garmin Pay came across those two models, the Fenix 5 Plus models across the whole range as well.
Mm-hmm. Key thing there, I know we all wear them, my wife wears them, of Fenix watches, and all my staff do. They have to put the Spotify on and that kind of stuff. When the music, they've loaded the Spotify accounts on them and they download their playlists onto it, and then they walk and exercise with just wireless headphones on as well, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. You can store the music or your podcasts or your audiobooks directly on the watch and stream them to a set of Bluetooth headphones when you're out doing some activity or in the gym or whatever it may be.
That's fantastic. Brilliant. So, we're 15 months on and we've now got the Fenix 6. So really, what are the key differences between the Fenix 6 and the Fenix 5 Plus, which is what we were discussing last year?
Okay. Yeah. So kind of hardware-wise, size has changed a little bit. So on Fenix 5 Plus, all the screen sizes were exactly the same and the same resolution. But on Fenix 6, even though we've got 3 different size bodies, we've now got 3 different size watch faces as well. So you've got the 6S, which is the smaller or slimmer model. You've then got the standard 6 and a 6X, which is the larger one. What that gives is the ability to show more information on the screens, link more different bits of information together, so get your heart rate on the map screen and really mix it around. It's also an always-on display, so you can use it all the time. And then kind of build quality-wise, something that Garmin have been doing over the past 15, 18 months is moving across to a US military standard of testing.
Yeah.
And it's come on 66s, as you know, we've talked about it previously in Reach, and it's now filtering down to the watches.
Brilliant. The key thing is larger screens on all models, again, both the S, the standard model, and the X, which is the larger version as well, isn't it?
Yes, higher resolution as well, so clear as the screen quality is much, much better.
As I just came into here, somebody just rang up and asked a question, and I'm going to just drop it into. Somebody said, "Is the screen brighter on the Fenix?" I don't really know what that. Because somebody else asked me as I walked in, said, "Is the screen brighter?" I don't know what they mean by that, but again, it's a higher resolution, isn't it?
Higher resolution. Let me just double check it. So a 6S is 240 by 240, 6 is 260 by 260, and 280 by 280. I think we were down at 192.
Right.
A standard Fenix 5 Plus. So yeah, quite a big increase. So that will screen clarity will be very different there.
It's something I've never really thought suffered really on the Fenix range, because again, with the maps, I've got a 5 Plus on my wrist at the moment. No, with the maps, I think they look fantastic. The screen looks absolutely stunning, actually, both indoors and outdoors, as an outdoor GPS unit has in the past, and now with the watches, I think they look truly stunning, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Part of that as well is the new Gorilla Glass, which we're probably going to talk about, but that's helping with the screen clarity as well on the screen.
We can discuss that Gorilla Glass, because again, that's something else that we've been asked from various persons. So you've moved really from upgraded from Gorilla Glass 2 to 3, is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Which I think, because I asked you, I sent you an email, I think, on launch day saying, well, what's that? And I was actually printed off before we had a bit of a chat, and you say it's 20 times stronger than the 5 Plus is as the figure you gave me.
Yep. Sapphire, so we just use two different glasses, basically, Gorilla Glass and Sapphire Glass. So just so you know, Sapphire Glass is the second hardest material in the world after diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Means it's really hard to scratch or break, but there's obviously a cost implication with using that material. So that's why we use some of the models which are Gorilla Glass, which is still a really tough material, just not quite as tough as Sapphire. So Gorilla Glass 3 is much stronger than the Gorilla Glass 2 that we've been using in the past. It's improved damage resistant, fundamentally tougher, and a totally new design makeup. So it's completely designed totally different.
So when you're saying it's tougher, is that less scratch? Is it more scratch resistant? Or more scratch resistant? Because that's the thing with the older watch or the Fenix 5. You know, we take trade-ins and things. No, those glass screens do get scratched. Where the Sapphire, you know, if somebody for me trades in a Sapphire, I know the screen's going to be 100% because the quality of that Sapphire is second to none. Now with that new Gorilla Glass, are we not far off the quality of a Sapphire, or are we still going to get those scratched? You know, I'll be honest, I've got a Fenix 5 on my wrist. It's got a couple of scratches on it.
I think there still will be a slight difference between the two, but the gap is narrowing, as we say. Gorilla Glass 3 is more damage resistant than before, and the reason behind that is that Gorilla Glass 3 isn't chemically strengthened; it's atomic level. Right. So what that means is it's fundamentally stronger. We're not doing it by a chemical change to the material, so it will be much stronger than a 5S.
So really what we're kind of saying, if you want to use this for mountain biking, climbing, scrambling, etc., still that Sapphire version is the one we should
the Sapphire, if you're really, rugged out, using it a lot in the outdoors where it could get bumped and bashed, the Sapphire ones are still.
And I'll be honest, that's been our sales so far. I know it's been with us, just for 4 or 5 days. 75-80% of our sales are the Sapphire, which is really that's what I'm recommending, because actually you spend that amount of money on a watch, why not get one that's going to be, is not going to get scratched, is going to have that durability, and that's really what I think our customers should be looking at. And that's, if I get a new watch, which I'm going to, the Sapphire is the one I'm going to go for.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So we looked at the build quality and the size of the screen. What other key features have we got there, Tom?
So we've added a raft of new kind of performance and management features. So this year's update with Fenix is all about the outdoor and fitness user. So we've kind of did all our smartwatch updates last year. This is all about performance. So Pace Pro is a new running feature. Sits in the running side of things, and what this allows you to do is, we've had things like virtual partner, virtual pacer in the past, where you can say I want to run a marathon in 3 hours, and it breaks it down into the minutes per mile or minutes per kilometre and tells you whether you're ahead or behind. What that doesn't do is take into account a hill, or the fact that you might start fast and finish slow, or start slow and finish fast. Pace Pro does that. You give it some key bits of information, how fast you want to do it, you tell it the route that you're going to do, and you tell it whether you want to start fast, finish slow, whether you want to run fast up hills or back off on the hills. And Pace Pro will constantly update throughout the whole activity to try and get you to that target time.
Brilliant.
It's groundbreaking for people who are wanting to pace an event or a running activity or something like that.
So where's it get that information from? Is it getting information from other Garmin users, or is it getting it from the map, or how does it? Because again, if you're doing the Great North Run, it knows that route. Where's it get that information from?
Most runs, like things like the Great North Run, for example, have a GPX file already readily available. You can pull them into Garmin Connect, layer all this Pace Pro over the top of it, and away you go. Or you can draw your route in Garmin Connect beforehand, and that data will be there ready to go.
Good. So we're all going to be running faster then.
Absolutely, running to time.
And the other thing that you mentioned there was power. That was the other big thing. The power management, I think, has been the big update, really, hasn't it, as well?
Yeah, so this is, again, a usability side of things. So the first thing we've done is we've changed from showing a percentage battery life to the amount of days or hours left in battery life, which means a lot more to people when they're actually physically out using the watch. If you're stood out on a run and thinking, oh, I've got 20% left, what does that mean? Well, nobody really knows. But if you know you've got 8 hours left, that means something to you. So that's what we've done, is all the data fields have now changed to amount of time left.
And also you've got different power management systems that can go in. So actually, if you can look, I've got 2 hours left, you then can say, all right, I'm going to go into this power management system. Now I've got a day left, can't you?
Yeah, so we totally changed that. So you've got almost like profiles for power management, and you can say, right, I want maximum battery life. It turns down all the features, the backlight, it turns off the heart rate off the wrist, all of that kind of thing, really strips it back. Or if you want maximum battery life, maximum data, and you can work through it. You can even do things like, I'm going skiing, I'm going to wear the watch on the outside of my jacket, so I don't want the heart rate on the wrist turned on, because it will go there. So you can do that as a separate profile for when you go skiing or mountaineering or etc.
And then right at the extreme, you've got expedition mode, haven't you? Which really would cut off those key ones as well.
Yeah, so we've got expedition mode and a kind of max battery life mode available in there. So expedition GPS mode and then a full battery saver mode, which turns off everything altogether.
I was just looking at some reviews on that, because that complete battery save one just switches everything off, and you just end up with the time and your basic steps and that kind of thing. And it's just phenomenal. So if you're down to the last 20 minutes, last 30 minutes of your battery and you're out and about, you can just switch it off, and suddenly you've got a week's battery life or number of weeks battery life, if that's what you're wanting. So it's very clever. I think they've stolen that really from another manufacturer of watch, I may add it, but I suppose it's just keep leapfrogging and catching up and then overtaking, isn't it? But I think it's really nice that we've got that options now to alter those settings and improve those battery life.
I mean, even in the kind of expedition GPS mode, so if you're going on a long walk, like a long distance walk, even on the 6S, which is the smallest body, so the lowest battery life, 20 days of use, and that's with GPS running in expedition mode, all the way up to 46 days in a 6X.
Wow.
Really, really good battery life.
That's brilliant. That's really good. So I think that's the key things there. So the key things are, we no longer just tells you what percentage, now how long that's going to last, and we've got these different options that you can switch the GPS into different battery options, and you can save your battery, use more battery, as you say, right into this expedition mode, or even just blanking it right down to this screen which just tells you the time, which kind of lasts, I think, near enough forever. Any other key things? I feel we've still got, our sports apps on there. Golf. Did we have the golf courses on the 5?
So golf was downloadable via Connect IQ. It was
right
directly on the device. So yeah, it's an option on there, but it has been in the 5 series.
Right. Okay. Because again, a lot of our customers also will walk and cycle and also do golf, so that they can download the golf and it tells you how far the pin is on each of those golf courses.
Yeah, so you can see how far the pin is, how far it is to the front, middle, back of the green, and how far it is to the bunkers and things like that. And for is it 41,000 golf courses around the world?
And then also the key thing is, and I've got a lot of friends who are using it for this. You mentioned it briefly as well, skiing. You've got the ski resorts on there, haven't you, as well? I think 2,000 worldwide ski resorts, haven't you?
Yeah, so that's something that's really new to the Fenix 6. Is we're really increasing our ski features, and there's a lot of new ski metrics that are coming for this winter, for the ski season. So things like, especially cross-country skiing, ski touring, we can tell you things like pole rate, all sorts of different bits of information for when you're out.
And this is all on the Topo Active mapping, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all on the Topo Active mapping with some extra bits of data for the ski resorts and some new features in the watch as well.
So I'm going to jump in with a question from one of our listeners who asked the question. It's Andrew Kennard, actually. He says, one question has been asked. He said, would it ever support Ordnance Survey maps? Some of the older Fenixes used to be able to download bird's eye Ordnance Survey mapping onto them. That stopped in the 5 Plus, so I think it was a 5. Is there any thoughts of reintroducing this to the Fenix range, Tom?
I don't think so. The Topo Active mapping has got so much better, and OS mapping is almost too detailed for the size of screen that we've got. Topo Active mapping, because when you zoom in and out, information appears and disappears, and because it's a vector map, it works really well on the smaller screen sizes. Whereas the OS mapping, it would just get more and more blurry as you zoom in, especially on the resolution of screen that we've got on the actual devices. So I think, no, we stick with the Topo Active. It gives us so much other features as well in the turn-by-turn, round-trip routing, and all the other options, the ski mapping and the goal, everything. It's all built around.
Those are my thoughts as well. So, say somebody walks with a Fenix on the wrist, I'd like that Topo Active mapping. Actually, it's got a lot more detail, especially when you go through country parks and things. It's got all the paths on there, where often the Ordnance Survey map doesn't have those on there. So sometimes you've got a little bit extra detail, which I really like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really well built mapping, and so it's not cluttered at all. So it's great for using on your wrist. And there's so many features as a benefit to that.
Good, and it's turn-by-turn navigation, isn't it, as well?
Turn by turn, yeah, fully across the whole of Europe.
Yeah, well, with our Ordnance Survey on outdoor GPS, we've just got turn-by-turn routing within national parks with the Topo Active mapping. We've got it, let's say, across the whole of Europe, haven't you?
Yeah, and again, that Topo, the Ordnance Survey that's only on a card. We can't do that on download at the moment, so you wouldn't get any of that with OS.
That's brilliant. We've still got round-trip routing, turn-by-turn navigation we've talked out, and Climb Pro feature. Is that new, or was that on the old one, the Climb Pro feature?
So it's in different guises on the 5, but Climb Pro basically allows you to see in real time your current climb that you're doing, so how far you're up the climb, current gradient, distance you've been climbing, and the elevation gain on that current climb, and it'll do that for climbs within the event as well if you've pre-programmed in your course.
Very good.
Again, hopefully when you're running, walking.
Excellent. And then I suppose the key thing is Galileo. We won't talk about Europe, but the Galileo, which is the European satellite, it's now incorporated. So we saw it first on the 66S in the handheld world, and now this is because the Fenix 5 didn't utilize Galileo, did it? It didn't. No. Questioning myself there. So we are utilizing Galileo on the Fenix 6, which gives us the accuracy, which is phenomenal, isn't it? We've seen that anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Brilliant. ABC sensors, music apps, Garmin Pay, wrist-based heart rate, pulse ox. Now that's the other thing as well. Pulse ox was just on the 5X before, and now across the whole range, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's dropped down across the whole range as we've moved from the 5 to the 6 series. So that uses the heart rate wrist sensor to gauge how well your body's absorbing oxygen.
Right.
It's a real good indicator of how well your body's performing. Really great for altitude acclimatization. So the watch can tell you how well you're acclimatizing. And then it also works within sleep monitoring as well. But yeah, altitude acclimatization.
So that's more for your mountaineers, but again, to see, is oxygen levels, I suppose, when you're running is quite an important thing as well, is it?
Absolutely, yeah, depending on where you're running. But yeah, absolutely, all about that acclimatization.
Very good. There's this new safety and tracking feature, isn't there? Has this come over from the cycling world from Garmin, hasn't it?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different things. You can pre-program in emergency contacts into your phone. If the watch detects a big force being applied, aka you falling over, etc., and falling off your bike, it will trigger an instant and alert your emergency contacts that there's been an incident, and then offer you to, if you're connected, if you're paired to your smartphone and your smartphone's with you, offer to dial the emergency services for you. And then there's a secondary part to that, which is the safety side, which is you can press the power button 4 times in a row, and that will automatically ring the emergency services if you feel unsafe, if you're out running or walking and felt unsafe.
That's a really nice feature. I must be put on the spot. I don't know the answer myself to this, but does that work along an InReach Mini or not? Because again, you can tether these things with InReach Minis. Would the InReach Mini be able to do that if you're out a mobile phone signal?
So, as far as I know, those 2 bits aren't incorporated yet. That's
right.
The Connect app, because it's all driven by Connect app and your mobile phone rather than.
Okay, brilliant. So going back to Connect IQ Store, so we've got the Connect IQ Store, which is still packed full of stuff. I know the girls in the office spend half their life downloading faces for their watches, Tom. It's always a story at coffee time with their latest face on their Fenix watch. And I think that's the key features. And without moving on to the big thing, which is the solar charging on the 6X Solar, I don't think I missed anything out about the watch, but the 6X Solar is the first watch from Garmin that now has a solar charger built in, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So we've done, just in the 6X Pro, we've done a solar version of that model. So there's 2 solar panels in the in the watch face. It's built into the actual behind the glass. There's a black ring around the outside, which when you actually look at one of those models, you can see it's like a grey coloured ring. And looking at it without knowing, you'd think it's just part of the bezel design. It's not very obvious. And that's a solar panel. And then behind the actual display, in the middle, there's another solar panel. So there's two different solar panels built into the watch screen. And
would that power the GPS solely, or are we still going to have to plug it in?
So you're still going to have to plug it in. The official figures state that in smartwatch mode, with a 6X, you get 21 days of battery life. The solar would add another 3 days of battery life.
Right.
And then as you go through GPS and GLONASS, it adds another 6 hours to the 60 hours. You already get expedition mode. It's 46 days. It goes up to 56 days, for example. And that's with the watch seeing roughly 3 hours of sunlight per day.
Okay.
Get those kind of charging figures from the solar panel.
Right. So it's quite a step up in technology. So it's just keeping it boosted, really, isn't it? And it's not yet replacing having to plug that in.
No, it's not fully replacing the ability to have to charge the watch, especially if you're using it regularly in GPS mode. What it will do is it will considerably boost you on your expeditions, activities.
And the key thing there, even though it is the most expensive model, we've got Gorilla Glass because actually we can't put solar behind the Sapphire.
Yeah, the solar technology needs to be behind Gorilla Glass rather than the Sapphire glass.
Fantastic. So then let's quickly go over the models that we've got. So the ones with Gorilla Glass, which are what we call the Pro range, we've got the Fenix 6 Pro and the Fenix 6S Pro, which is the Gorilla Glass model, which is really the base unit. And then we move up to Sapphire. So we've got Fenix S Sapphire, Fenix S6 and 6S. The S again being the lighter one on the wrist, the smaller one for people with smaller wrists or for ladies model. And then we've got the 6X Sapphire, which the X gives us improved battery life, slightly larger as well, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah, larger screen. You can put more data fields on the screen because it's larger as well. See more map, that kind of thing.
And the 6S Pro Solar, which is the one we're just discussing there. The other thing we've not mentioned there is the interface is quite different than our Fenix 5, isn't it? Because again, when you scroll through your page on the Fenix 5, I'm just doing 9 live, you get your heart rate and you've got your steps, etc., etc. You get one big page that displays this. But on the Fenix 6, this is the key thing when I saw it, when you showed it to us a month or so ago, is actually you see 3 activities, don't you? You see the one above it and the one below it, and then we press the enter button to go into it. So the interface is really it's nice. It's a lot easier to navigate around.
Yeah, with each model we kind of slicken up the user interface, make some changes to make it easier to use as we incorporate more and more features into the watches. It's really slickened up.
And one last question. I've emailed this. Quickly emailed to you. You've had a chance to look at it. Is say somebody else asked a question, so I forgot to make a note of your name. Was on the news recently, there's been this what 3 words, you might have seen it, where what 3 words which you can give to emergency services, it's supposed to, instead of a grid reference, and it locates anywhere within the planet. Is there any thought of Garmin incorporating this onto both handheld GPS units and watches going forward?
So I'd ask you the cynical question of why would you want that?
I don't know, because the customers asked me the question to ask you. That's why.
So, I'll go down the political route then. So the Scottish Mountain Rescue put a post out about 2 weeks ago about what 3 words.
Right.
So it's an absolutely, it is a great service that's been offered, but it doesn't replace the way that the Mountain Rescue and the Coast Guard and whoever, it's all managed through agencies, work and search for you. They can't navigate off the 3-word system. So they have to take the what 3 words and use a system to convert that to an OS grid reference to then go and use it. Yeah. But your Garmin device can give you an OS grid reference anyway, so why not just give them that?
Exactly.
More accurate than what 3 word, because you'd have to use your phone to get that at the moment. And it's the grid systems aren't as small as the OS grid system either.
Yep. So you're right. You're saying if you were out in the hills with a Fenix watch on or with an outdoor GPS unit, and Mountain Rescue are going to use a similar piece of kit, because actually you spend a lot of time working with these guys, they're going to want a grid reference. So if you give them what 3 words, they're going to ask someone to convert that into a grid reference, but into their GPS unit. Well, actually, why don't you just give them the grid reference in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely.
It might be something, again, because there's the IQ app, so that people develop apps, don't you? Anybody can develop apps, so it might be something that some third party might want to do. Actually, what 3 words might do, you don't know.
Yeah, absolutely, might develop an app for it, but it's I can't yet see a reason why you'd want to use that system over the OS grid system.
Yeah, that's totally logical. And especially now we've got the Galileo coming in there, the accuracy. Again, I go back to, we're seeing 2 meter accuracy with that Galileo. So we can't get more accurate than that, can we?
No.
Is there anything you want to add, Tom? It's been a really good chat, really in-depth chat into the new Fenix 6 range. Is there anything you want to add before we say goodbye?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think we've covered pretty much the range.
Very much, and thank you very much for joining me, Tom, on this month's podcast. If you guys find out more about the Garmin Fenix 6 GPS watches, please go to our website, which is gpstrain.co.uk. Click on GPS Store on the top menu bar. Then on the left-hand side, you'll see under Multi-Activity GPS Watch, you see Garmin GPS Watch.